Excellent. Well, then let us get started with our City Council work session of Tuesday, November 29th, 2022. Turning on my volume here so it doesn't get the echo. Calling to order, and just notice to the public that we may City Council may vote to go into executive session for any of the agendized items for legal advice. Roll call, please.
Mayor Deasy.
Here.
Vice Mayor Sweet.
Here.
Councilmember Aslan.
Present.
Councilmember House. Here. Councilmember McCarthy.
Here.
Councilmember Salas.
Present.
Councilmember Shimoni.
Here.
Excellent. Councilmember Aslan, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
It would be my honor. Please stand if you're able. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Councilmember House, our mission statement, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The mission of the City of Flagstaff is to protect and enhance the quality of life for all.
Thank you. And Vice Mayor Sweet, our land acknowledgement, please.
Thank you. The Flagstaff City Council humbly acknowledges the ancestral homelands of this area's indigenous nations and original stewards. These lands, still inhabited by native descendants, border mountains sacred to indigenous peoples. We honor them, their legacies, their traditions, and their continued contributions. We celebrate their past, present, and future generations who will forever know this place as home.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And do we have anyone for public participation at this time?
No, Mayor, we do not.
Excellent. We're down to agenda item number 5, our review of draft agenda for the December 6, 2022 City Council meeting. City Council, do we have any concerns, questions about the agenda for next week? All right, I do want to bring up just a couple things for next week. There was some discussion last week, and I would like to, with the Thorpe Annex plan, ensure that we are putting forth a addition for the potential pickleball court at the current dog park in Thorpe as part of the plan. We've had some discussions about that before, but would like to have that as an option so we can consider for next week. In addition, I would like to ask for some information regarding either deed restrictions or grant restrictions, as there has been some concern about the housing on the Thorpe Park Annex plan and ways that it may be violating some of the terms of agreements we have made in the past, and just would like to get a good review on that front to ensure that we're above board and making sure that there isn't some unexpected ramifications for putting housing on the Thorpe Annex lot. So if we could just please get a review of that as well for next week, I'd greatly appreciate it. With that, without further ado, we can move right along to a very important part of our meeting, our fire department commendations. Agenda item number 6.
Mayor Deasy, members of the council, it's my privilege to be in front of you to recognize the meritorious efforts of the members of the Flagstaff Fire Department this evening. Some of them are still inbound. They were at either training, and some of them are working and they're on calls. Whether they are here at this moment or not, I'm going to call out their unit and or their names, and we have a number of them who are present. On a windy April 19th of this year, a small wildland fire started in the Schultz Burn area. The fast-moving fire, soon to be known as the Tunnel Fire, placed residents of the Summit Fire and Medical District in immediate peril. The rapidly growing fire in red flag conditions soon destroyed approaching 60 structures, 30 of which were homes. That day, just like every day here, The members of the Greater Flagstaff Region Automatic Aid Consortium answered the call to help that part of our community. And I'm witness to the actions of the members of the Flagstaff Fire Department that day and their meritorious efforts. They performed bravely in the face of severe conditions. The unprecedented winds, choking smoke, and extreme heat from the fire led to severely limiting conditions. Hour after hour, these companies fought extreme fire behavior in a very aggressive and very tactically smart fashion. The actions of these crews saved numerous homes and helped stop the fire from flanking and impacting other subdivisions in the community. The members of the GFR, all of our partners, performed above and beyond their call of duty. In the aftermath of this, the Honor Guard has recommended, and I give my fullest endorsement, for the recognition of members engaged in this firefight for individual and unit commendations, for courage, resourcefulness, and perseverance in the performance of their duties. It's my honor to present the individual and unit commendations, and I'll bring them up in units first, and if they do not have representatives here, we will still recognize them. These unit commendations are for actions as a part of a unit displaying courage and perseverance in the performance of their duties, resulting in the protection of lives and property while assigned to the tunnel fire. Engine 1 was a recall engine. Our members came when they're in their off-duty hours on a recall notice, came to work. Those individuals were Captain Matt Smyers, Engineer Tyler Dobbs, Firefighter Luke Dalton. Engine 133, another recall engine, Captain Greg McLaughlin, Engineer Brian Anderson, Firefighter James Devaney, and Firefighter Derek Sossman. Engine 6A, Captain Jason Beller, Engineer Corey Coplia, and Firefighter Shane Sprazoff. Engine 4A shift, the on-duty shift, Engine 4, Captain Seth Greger and Wes Forback, and I believe one of their members is here now. Wes Forback is here. Engine 4A. And finally, unit commendation to Engine 3A shift, a Station 3 shift that day, Captain Joe Toth, Engineer Justin Stasky, and Firefighter Adam Webster. We have some individual commendations from that day. Some of our members were pressed into service. Some of them were taken from their existing duties and placed on fire engines and fire apparatus and sent out to the line. Some of them were immediately pressed into service as part of the overhead and supervision of the structure protection group that was working in that area. And others were assigned to the Type 3 IMT that immediately came as a local IMT that immediately took charge of the fire that afternoon. For actions displaying courage and perseverance in the performance of your duties, resulting in the protection of lives and property while assigned to the tunnel fire, individual commendations are issued to Forest Health Supervisor Neil Chapman, I think Neil's still in training, Fire Engineer Katie Brown. And Captain Mike Feltz. I have an additional individual commendation for Battalion Chief Earl Callender. Earl's individual commendation reads a little bit differently, and he has since been promoted. He was Captain Callender at the fire, and he's now been promoted. But His commendation reads, "Commanding firefighters assigned to structure protection and the evacuation of homes in the direct path of the tunnel fire. Captain Callender's communication and diligence kept his crews safe, and many of the homes in the area were saved because of his efforts. His leadership and experience dramatically changed the outcomes for many residents in the area while keeping his fellow firefighters safe." And one more of note, I'll tell you, that same day, 4 citizens of the Summit Fire and Medical District were at home witnessing the devastation of the tunnel fire on their neighborhood. When the fire hit their neighborhood, it was moving so fast and weather conditions were unpredictable, and they were driven by high winds. So fast that the weather conditions were unpredictable, driven by high winds, that homes in the timberline area immediately ignited. A group of 4 neighbors were among the few homeowners that stayed to protect their homes, as well as the neighborhood, despite extreme fire conditions. Immediately after the fire front had moved through the neighborhood, it was noticed that a neighboring house was now on fire. It was unknown if there were other occupants inside the structure. One of the group immediately called 911. Another contacted the spouse of the homeowner and confirmed that the homeowner was still inside the now burning home and unable to self-evacuate. After hearing this, off-duty Flagstaff fire engineer Ryan Church, with the assistance of 2 neighbors, tried to locate the homeowner in the residence, but due to the arrangements of the contents of the house, it was unable to locate the residence. At this point, with the assistance of his wife and 2 neighbors, Ryan was able to force entry through the back door to get the homeowner out. Once the homeowner was out, he was moved to a safe location. By now, the house was fully involved in fire. Earlier this month, the Summit Fire and Medical District recognized Ryan and Lindsay Church, Mike Hanneman, and Scott Sanders with the Citizen Heroism Awards for their brave actions that day. This afternoon, it's my privilege to honor Engineer Ryan Church with the Fire Chief's Commendation, which is given in recognition of acts of courage, resourcefulness, and perseverance in the performance of duties that have resulted in the protection of a life or property. And to be clear, Ryan's actions, along with his wife and neighbors, saved a life, to be crystal clear. Ryan demonstrated the highest degree of professionalism and exemplifies the highest standards of service by virtue of his diligence, dedication, and character. We are so grateful for his example. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, that concludes our presentation of commendations. If you would like, we'd love to have you greet these award recipients.
Thank you, Chief. Say we are honored and very grateful for the service of our Flagstaff Fire Department and Summit Fire for all the work that you do that every year seems to be more and more to save the lives and livelihoods of our community. And if you'd be willing to come forth to the front here, I would love to shake your hand and congratulate you on the hard work you do and potentially take a picture with you all if you'd be willing.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Salas.
yes, I'd like to offer a comment. And as much I would like to be there physically, unfortunately, I'm a little bit under the weather. So I just want to extend my profound gratitude to all of our firefighters and volunteers who were recognized today, and everyone in our fire department who work day in and day out, keeping our community safe and, of course, our forest healthy. Thank you, everyone. Grateful heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Salas. Well said. With that, we are down to agenda item number 7, our November work anniversaries.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. Heidi Hansen, Interim Deputy City Manager. Shannon Anderson did a great job putting this PowerPoint together like she normally does with the help of HR, and she's asked for me to present it to you all this evening. We get the pleasure of talking about 8 of our employees this month, and I'm going to go through some of them quickly, and then some I'm going to read a little bit about them to you. First, we have Paul White. He is our parks technician, and he is now enjoying 5 years of service at the city of Flagstaff. So thank you, Paul, for all that you're doing for the city. Then we jump from 5 to 15 years, and we have Alan Hart. He's an equipment operator 3. So again, thank you, Alan, for all that you're doing for the city. Then we go to 20 years. We have Sandra Chavez. She's our recreation leader 1. And we have Clint Hill, our police sergeant. So again, thank you both for all that you do for the city. And then we move on to the biggies, 25 years plus. So we have Pearl online with us today. I don't know if she wants to say anything after, but maybe we can give her some opportunity if she'd like. I'm going to read a little bit to you about Pearl. Pearl has made a meaningful and positive impact to the local community during her 30 years at the Tuba City Public Library. Pearl is committed to her work and is resourceful in carrying out her daily duties, following the protocols as a City of Flagstaff employee. Pearl is an expert in materials procurement, including many popular Navajo and Hopi book titles for the library that are in great demand among her patrons. She has excellent rapport among her staff who work together as a team to provide daily assistance to library patrons in the form of circulation, reference, computer assistance, and programming. Pearl served as an integral role during the recent library building renovation, helping with the new design and layout of the furnishings to better accommodate library users. During the pandemic, she devoted her time to improve the collection holdings while providing patrons curbside service to library materials. Pearl is an asset to the City of Flagstaff, having maintained steadfast dedication to the library, staff, and local community of Tuba City throughout her library tenure. And if you have not ever gone to the Tuba City Library, I hope that you will stop over there because it is so nice now. It was much needed, that renovation. So thank you so much, Pearl, for helping us with that. And Pearl, not to put you on the spot, I know you're online, but if there's anything you'd like to share, we could give you a few minutes.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you. It's been an honor working with the city of Flagstaff. I was telling Will that if I had another 30 years, I would put another 30 years. But I think it's time to I wouldn't say retire, but kind of step back and let the younger folks come and pick up the hat. So, but I am honored. I'm very thankful. And it's every minute I enjoyed it. My staff, I tell my staff, it's like we are here not by ourselves, but as a team. And I appreciate all my employees, the one that have stood by me through all the pandemic and everything. And library patrons are not just patrons, they become your family. You get to know them. And it was sad that we lost so many of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Pearl. We appreciate you. And if you want to give it 30 more years, we'll allow you to. Next is
you,
somebody that you probably know very well. It's our own police chief, Chief Dan Musselman. And I'm not sure if Dan is in the room or online, but he is. Yay, I get to talk about Dan. So he is celebrating 27 years with the city of Flagstaff. He has served the roles of police officer, corporal, detective, lieutenant, and deputy police chief, prior to being promoted to the police chief in December of 2020. During this past year, Police Chief Musselman has been working hard to promote employment with the Flagstaff Police Department by introducing new tools and techniques, to recruiting new officers and working with staff on competitive compensation, a local police academy, an updated contract with High Country Humane, noise ordinance specifications, and working with local partners to provide the best level of service possible to the community and its visitors. We appreciate Chief Musselman's dedication and service.
Thanks, Heidi. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just have to say, 27 years seems to go by so fast. I don't know where it all went, but I am so fortunate to be able to live, work, and play in a beautiful community, much like everyone else here, and honored to be working alongside the men and women that work for this organization. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. And we have Matt here too. 25 years plus, in celebrating the years of service that Matt has brought to the recreation team, one word comes to mind: thoughtful. Matt is a thoughtful, energetic, inclusive team coworker who has spearheaded many programs and opportunities at the city for our community members. Some of Matt's impressive accomplishments include running the city's therapeutic recreation program for many years, working closely with the Special Olympics, and of course, managing the Josie Montoya Community and Senior Center. Matt's dedication to the city and recreation the past 29 years are one of the reasons why pros exist, as Matt is a pro. Matt, come on up.
Mayor and Council, thank you very much. It's been my honor and privilege to work for this community for 29 years. I, however, am not like Pearl. I don't have another 29 years in me, but I'm not done just yet. It's been a great privilege, and I look forward to more of it. So thanks for having me here today.
Thank you so much, Matt.
So that's everybody. 8 amazing people that we get to work with every single day, and I hope that you got to learn a little bit more about them. I think what's more telling is how many people have been with this organization so long and continue to have dedication to this community. So I feel honored. Thank you, Shannon, for letting me participate in this, and thanks for everybody that showed up and spoke. Have a good rest of your meeting.
Thank you, Heidi.
Oh, my gosh. I almost forgot Geneva.
Can't forget
That is my
Geneva.
fault. You know what threw me off was CJ told me I wasn't allowed to call on her. So,
Thanks a lot, CJ.
Geneva, I'm not calling on you, but I am going to talk about you. All right. Geneva started with the city 27 years ago and has served the city working in the mailroom, the old warehouse stockroom, community development, and now information technology. Geneva received a bachelor's in computer information systems and currently works as the IT help desk specialist. You would actually think that Geneva is my personal help desk specialist because I drive her crazy, where amongst many other things, she coordinates the PC replacement process for the city. Geneva is extremely proud of her son, Zach, who graduated Coconino High School earlier this year and is currently attending the University of Arizona on a full academic scholarship. Paul shared that Geneva is an integral part of the City of Flagstaff's help desk team. She focuses on the PC replacement cycle, ensuring old devices get replaced with newer, higher-performing units. This crucial component helps support IT's mission of making everyone's job easier tomorrow than it was today. So we congratulate you, Geneva, on 27 years of service, and she actually added a quote. "Happiness often sneaks in through a door you didn't know you left open." So I'd have to hope that she's saying that it's happiness of working for the city of Flagstaff, or maybe just helping Heidi every day. But anyway, sorry, Geneva, I didn't mean to miss you. You are an amazing person, and I love working with you each day. And I
you,
am
Janine.
done. End of slideshow.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. With that, we are down to agenda item number 8, our business community listening tour. With all the handsome gentlemen in the red ties.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. I'm John Saltonstall, Business Retention Expansion Manager for the City of Flagstaff. Thanks for letting us be here today. Going to do our business listening tour, but before we get started, I just want to give a quick update on some other good news. Our Business Retention Expansion Incentive from this last summer. We had 6 applications from different businesses. We have 2 that are going to be awarded. Crosswalk Labs and the Physio Shop will be awarded through that incentive program, delivering between 7 and 12 new jobs in the next few years. So it's a great positive for us. But tonight, we're here to hear about some of our other businesses in the community. We have representatives from Nestle Purina Pet Care, from F-Bomb Foods, and KC Highlights. So with that, I'm going to invite Mike Ferrito with Nestle Purina to come and talk a little bit about what's happening over at the plant. Mike?
You gonna drive this for me, or? Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk to you today. As John mentioned, my name is Mike Ferrito. I'm the factory manager at Nestle Purina. So we've got a little PowerPoint presentation that we're going to take you through just to tell you a little bit about what we do every day at the factory. Sounds good to me. See if it works. Yeah. Okay, so at Purina, our mission kind of has 3 areas that we focus on each and every day, and there's kind of 3 components of it. So we talk about protect, provide, and persevere. So protect in itself has 3 components to it. So our number 1 priority is to make sure everyone leaves in the same condition they arrive every day. So it's all around protecting our people. Secondly, it's protecting our brands, right? We've got very popular brands within the United States, and we take it very seriously, make sure that all of the pets get high-quality, nutritious pet food each and every day. So protect our people, protect our brands, and then finally is protect the environment. So those are the 3 aspects that we focus on in our mission in terms of protect. The next is provide, and that's really provide our customers with product that they want. So that's our purpose, right, is to make and serve our customers and provide them the pet food they want. And then the last is to persevere. And when we talk about persevering, we really talk about, as many know, over the past couple of years, there's been a lot of supply chain challenges. We're throwing curveballs all the time. So it's about how do we build that muscle around how we can, not why we can't, and how do we just develop the ability to persevere through adversity. So for us, each and every day, it's protect, provide, and persevere. So Flagstaff, right? The factory in Flagstaff. The reason it was originally chosen for Flagstaff was primarily due to the geographic location around the BNSF Railroad, I-40 and 17. So from a distribution center, it just makes perfect sense to serve the Southwest. We make both dry dog and dry cat food. So about 77% of the product that we make is for dogs and 23% is for cats. And we produce around 44 different formulas each and every week. So a variety of brands. I'm sure many of you feed your pets Purina each and every day. As the video mentioned, we make about 293,000 tons of pet food every year. And we primarily service the Southwest, Hawaii, and New Zealand. The plant originally opened in 1975, so we're looking forward to celebrating our 50th anniversary here in a couple years. We've got 5 independent production lines and under about 75 acres of property. Our warehouse, so there's a distribution center attached to the factory, has about the ability to store 45,000 pallets or unit loads, and that includes 9,000 unit loads in our outside storage. So we leased part of the, what was it called, the old Walgreens distribution center that we now store there as well. At the factory, we employ about 320 people, 22 hourly, 100 salary. We make 900 tons of pet food each and every day. So if you think about that, that's about 36,000 50-pound bags manufactured. I know many of you talk about, if you drive down the 40, you can see all these trucks lined up on the factory. So we have about 24,000 trucks coming in and out of the factory annually, so it's about 65 trucks per day, and we ship about 307,000 tons. We are a zero landfill facility, so we're very proud of that, so none of the waste that we generate goes to the landfill. That's something we achieved in 2018, and we're still proud to meet that commitment each and every day. So again, thank you for the opportunity for the quick overview with Purina. We look forward to continuing to partner with the city and plan to be around for another 50 years. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Next, we'll have F-Bomb Foods and Ross Taylor.
And it's nothing to be afraid of. F-bomb is not a bad thing. It's a play on fat bombs. Some of you have been around when we started in 2015 and been to the factory. My wife Kara and I started in the little incubator, 400 square foot little office up there at NASET. And with the help of the city, we grew until we finally ended up in about an 8,000 square foot factory on Plaza Way. We started, I remember the day that the owner of Babbitt's downtown approached us and asked if he could carry our product, nut butter, in his store. And we thought, okay, this is great. And then we got in Peace Surplus, and then we got in Late for the Train coffee shops, and we grew and ended up growing into about 20,000 stores nationwide. We're in Whole Foods, Sprouts, H-E-B, Safeway, all over the country, which is pretty cool. Some of you may have noticed, though, that we've been gone from the scene for a while. We got the attention of some investors, and that was great until they got really spammy and they changed marketing and they fired us and we lost control. And that's why we haven't been around here. But I am happy to say that we, working with our great team at AWD, were able to renegotiate and reacquire, and we just finalized the repurchase of our brand and the business back. So we are now, my wife and I are back in full control. We plan to start sponsoring the local athletes that we used to sponsor, get back in all the stores that the investors abandoned, and have a good presence here in Flagstaff, because this is really where we started. You know, the little packets of nut butter, these are, or at least the last time I checked, were the #2 selling item in our Whole Foods grocery section here, just because they're so popular with folks going up to the canyon. So we plan to be back. You've seen Keto One, this truck. We came so close to selling this about a year ago. We would take it to events down in Austin, all over the country, and camp out in it and talk about the brand and hand out packets and make people happy, because everybody wants to talk about a good F-bomb. But we came so close to selling that. I'm glad we didn't. We still have it. I have to say that John, I have kept in touch with him even during our absence. We were 2.5 years out of control of the business, had no input, couldn't do any social media posts. We were out of email and everything. This is not a sob story. This is a comeback story. But we kept in touch with John. He kept in touch with us. He was one of the first people that knew back before we could talk about, hey, we're in negotiations. And that was early in the summer. It took months and months to work this out and come up with the money. But we did it. We bought it back. So F-bombs are coming back. We plan to start sponsoring events locally again, sponsoring local athletes in stores, and hopefully you'll see us around for another 30 years. And I will leave some patches and some stickers, because everybody needs an F-bomb sticker, but this is my dessert, but no, so we're happy to be back, and we just wanted to give you a little update. It'll take us a bit. It's just a few weeks since we finalized, so give us a bit of time to get our feet back under us. We have to change the packaging, fix some things they broke, start with new production and get back in things. But thank you, Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, members of the council. Appreciate your support over the years. We missed you. We're glad to be back.
Thank you, Russ. I love a good comeback story and persistence of us locals here.
The only
So,
downside is
awesome.
John didn't tell me I could show a video. We had a little video, my wife and I did, a recreation of the John Belushi scene where we're putting the brand back together.
You can send that to council@flagstaffaz.gov. I'd love to see it.
I'll send it to John and let him forward it so you know it's not
There you
spam.
go.
It's a great story, so thank you for that. And now we're going to hear from the folks at Casey Highlights.
Excellent.
You want me to hit the,
Sure, we can go ahead and start the prezi.
Yeah, it's not a video, yeah.
This worked very quickly at 2:30.
We can go without it too.
Yeah, we can start without it.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, my name is Ron Przinski. I'm GM for Casey Highlights. This is Taylor, our Director of Marketing. We just want to introduce ourselves. We just closed on the former Daily Sun building here in Flagstaff. We're currently set up operations in Williams, about 35 miles outside of town. So we're planning on moving our operations over here in 2023, and we're super excited about the opportunity to be in Flagstaff with the additional services and everything that Flag has to offer that Williams doesn't provide for us currently. So we just want to introduce ourselves, tell you what we do, and our future plans.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you guys once again for having us here. We're very excited about it. For us, one of our kind of core themes is that we really believe that our quality of results is what, or quality of relationships is what drives the quality of results. So this is awesome to be able to kind of kick off the relationship with the city of Flagstaff. And then beyond that, as the chief of police mentioned earlier too, I think he said it best. As Ron and I are both residents here in Flagstaff, we're very excited to not only be able to live and play in an area, but now soon to be able to work here as well. So, so I think we just kind of wanted to cover a couple quick things of who we are, who Casey is. So I'll kind of kick off just at a very high level for those that might not be familiar with the brand and with what we do. We are the manufacturer, the sellers of off-roading lights. So auxiliary lights that might get mounted onto a Jeep or a side-by-side, a Bronco, whatever, things like that. Think of that yellow smiley face, that classic cover. That's exactly what our company is. So today we're kind of a story of an example, like we like to say, of what's possible when you choose the path less traveled. So with that, do you want to kind of cover departments?
Absolutely. So currently, we have about 60 employees between Williams, and we have an office in LA. Our current operation here is operation, so it's light assembly, shipping, packaging, things like that, warehousing. We will keep that here. A lot of our administration is over in the LA office. But we do offer a lot of opportunities for growth. We have in-house full product development, assembly production, accounting team, technology team that creates and hosts websites, purchasing department. We do not have a sales department per se, but we do have account management, so that's sort of our take on the sales department. Brand marketing, of course, is huge for us. Digital e-com, we have our own websites, and a huge, very experienced customer service team. So with that, with our future plans, we'd like to basically double our capacity within the next 3 to 5 years and double our employees. So we want to grow tremendously. We're on a pretty huge growth path right now. We've been in business for over 50 years and continue to grow tremendously for the last couple of years, for sure.
Whoops, I don't want to do that. I don't know how to back out of this now. So then I think the other part of what we wanted to just kind of share about is what our future looks like. Share kind of some of the excitement about why we're excited to be here in Flagstaff and what that can look like. I think as we all know, a lot of people look at Flagstaff as kind of like this epicenter for adventure, right? And we feel like that kind of synergy between what we do is make products that literally allow people to adventure further and go out and do more at any time of the day in an environment like Flagstaff kind of is the perfect mesh of two worlds, right? So today where we stand as we kind of close out the year of 2022, we make vehicle-based LED lighting, right? So as we're looking forward to that, we have this notion of conservation, and we want to figure out how can we do what we do while navigating the future direction of automotive technology and power, energy, things like that. So we want to grow into 2023 and beyond as vehicle-based solar power as well. So now people aren't reliant on other systems. They have everything that they need fully in-house on their own vehicle to be self-sustainable, right? Capitalizing on the wonderful sun that we have here in Flagstaff. Then at the same time next year, we want to move into more of a mass consumer lighting type product. So what that would look like in reality is headlamps, flashlights, lanterns, things like that, that take the journey beyond just the normal vehicle stuff, but then we're providing accessories and other products that are helping people on whatever else their recreational opportunity may look like. I think for a lot of us, we look at off-roading as the way to get to our next adventure. So mountain biking, hiking, whatever that may be, that's just the way to get to the trailhead, but then there's always more camping, whatever it may be, as a result of that. Then beyond that, 2024 and 2025, we are very excited to launch what would be the next chapter of Casey's story would be consumer experiences. We found that part of the thing that gives us the most fulfillment in life is creating memories with others, and we have a great opportunity to be able to do that at scale with members of the community and offer experiences where we're doing hosted trips, guided trips, things like that, where we can get people together and do a little bit more beyond just the product. So with that, that's pretty much everything that we had for the presentation. And we just wanted to kind of share our excitement for being here and being able to kind of kick off our relationship with Flagstaff.
Absolutely. I'd like to open up to any questions you might have for us.
I'll just say this is really great, Ron Taylor. Appreciate you, bringing your business to Flagstaff. This really does fit our interests of our community. It really fits why people love to be here, and you're just a really great fit for our future in business. So I'm really glad that we set it, or John Saltonstall and everyone set it up for you to present today. I'm excited about your future.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, we're very excited to be here. Like you said, this is an epicenter of adventure, and we believe we fit right into it. We're going to bring a lot of fun to the city for sure.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's all for us for tonight. So thanks so much for giving us the time, and we'll let you get on with the meeting.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen.
Thanks.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer a comment. I've had my hand raised.
Yeah, Councilmember Salas.
So much. Oh, gosh. Just much gratitude and kudos to our business attraction and business retention and expansion team, John, Saltonstall, and Jack. Nestle Purina, yes, we're looking forward to your milestone anniversary, and thanks for being part of our evolving community, bringing jobs and economic activity within our region. For F-bomb, oh my goodness. Can I say, love me some F-bomb? I look forward to seeing the products again, because I remember bringing some to my family to the Philippines, and they were just, oh God, I couldn't even, they said stuff in the Philippines in Filipino. It was just amazing. So please bring those, please bring back the F-bombs. Looking forward to it again. And thanks for for reviving and uh, recovering the business. Thank you. And for Casey highlights, welcome to Flagstaff. I am in awe of your plans for the future, and thanks for choosing Flagstaff. And I hope that all of our businesses highlight today are optimizing all of our business incentives. I'm pretty sure Jack and Mr. Fitchett and Mr. Salazar are very much in touch with you in making sure that you optimize all the incentives that our city extends to our new and current businesses. Much gratitude to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Thank you.
All right, that does bring us down to agenda item number 9, our Youth Climate Advisory Group introduction and update.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Nicole Antonopoulos, Sustainability Director. I am positively honored to be here this afternoon to kick off the discussion and hand over the presentation to our team. But I did want to offer some background information, as I know that this has been a discussion with some of the council that are sitting on the dais currently and of past councils to really start to do a better job to hear the voices of the youth in our community. And we had conversations among staff of developing a youth commission and keeping it very formal, and then formalizing a process, and then determined that really developing a committee that is more fluid and organic would be the best course of action. And that timed really nicely with our climate action goals that were set by previous councils. So what we have today is our introduction to the Youth Climate Advisory Group. And I am going to hand off the presentation to Jenna Ortega, our Climate Engagement Coordinator. So Jenna, take it away.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. Again, Jenna Ortega, Climate Engagement Coordinator. It's such an honor to be here with a handful of our members of our very first Youth Climate Advisory Group. During their presentation, you'll get to meet a few of them, and they are going to share their work. They actually meet every other week. They have jobs, they have other commitments, they go to school full-time, so they're truly a pretty amazing group of people. Our whole youth advisory group represents 3 schools right now, although they're working hard at changing that because they want to represent more schools in Flagstaff. And for me, this group is truly important just to have the opportunity for young people to participate in developing all the programs that are going to serve them and have a voice in shaping the policies that affect them on a daily basis. And this is the best part of my job, selfishly. I go to every single meeting just to listen to them and learn from them. They have so many ideas and the energy to want to make the changes in our community, so it's so amazing to watch them and get to hear their unique perspectives and learn all the capabilities that they have. They're not up here just because of their age, but also for the knowledge that they have to offer for all of the work that I personally do. And real quick, before I hand it off, I also want you to meet someone who has really stepped in to be such a wonderful mentor and partner to this group. So through the AmeriCorps Vista program, our climate team was fortunate to be able to add a member last July. And her role has been all around youth leadership, but she's really taught me that it's not empowering youth, but helping them use their power. So it's my pleasure to introduce Gracie Reckemer.
Hello, good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. So excited to meet you all. As Jenna said, my name is Gracie Reckemer, and I'm the Youth Climate Leadership Vista with the Sustainability Office. So my position is really working with FUSD to help get students involved in climate action and create leadership opportunities for them. And I won't say too much because what I'm really excited for you guys tonight is to get to actually hear from some of these amazing students.
Hello, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. My name is Jessica Roberts, and that's also our agenda. My name is Jessica Roberts, and I am here to introduce this amazing group tonight. First off, I'd like to tell you a little blurb about myself. I'm a senior at Flagstaff High School and am looking forward to majoring in astronomy at U of A next year. Through my love of astronomy, I've learned how truly finite life is in this universe, and I want to do my part in preserving it. Growing up in Flagstaff developed my love for life and the great outdoors, and this is exactly why I was so excited to join this advisory, so that I could be a part of change and give future generations a voice in preserving their home rather than polluting it. What is this group? Our mission is to do our part in preserving the beauty of our city and its surrounding environment with the support of the Flagstaff City Council and aid future generations in this community. The Flagstaff Youth Climate Advisory works closely with the Flagstaff Sustainability Office and has so many plans and events in the future. We are passionate about our cause and look forward to connecting with this community more, like our work on Earth Day last year and the upcoming Youth Climate Summit. Our biggest goal is simply to give back to this beautiful town that we grew up in. Beyond that, we want to work with this city to create sustainable solutions to environmental issues. We are also working on projects and education with schools and youth groups to encourage involvement in these issues, especially with those of us reaching voting age. Ultimately, we do our part to make this a more sustainable city and world. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jess.
Hello, thank you for having us. My name is Samantha Gallegos. I'm a senior at Flagstaff High School, and I joined the Youth Climate Advisory Group in April. When people talk about climate change, it's not uncommon for them to sympathize with the issue while never really addressing it, especially since it doesn't seem like climate change could ever affect us personally. Growing up in Flagstaff, I have fond memories of building snowmen with my grandma, sledding with my cousin, and watching the snow fall outside my window until late in the evening. Snow has always made Flagstaff feel like Flagstaff, but in the past couple of years, I've noticed that Flagstaff doesn't get as much snow as it used to. Certainly not as much as it did when my dad was a kid, and not as much as when I was younger either. And this upsets me because I want the next generation of youth to be able to grow up with fond memories of this snowy winter environment. Climate change has affected Flagstaff, our home, and if we don't play our part in improving the issue, then, unfortunately, I'm not sure if these next few generations will have those snow-filled memories. This is why I joined the Youth Climate Advisory Group, and since I have accomplishments. We set up and ran a booth at Flagstaff's Earth Day celebration in Bushmaster Park, where we encouraged children to think about the environment and why they want to protect it, received feedback from the community, where we learned through a poll that the majority of people are interested in learning about ways to introduce climate education in schools and about water sustainability. And we formed connections with NAU climate activists and other local climate organizations who we are still trying to form connections with and just work with overall. Before putting our activities on pause for the summer, the Youth Climate Advisory Group hosted a tote bag painting session downtown where we discussed our upcoming goals for the fall with each other and other youth outside of our group and explored how everyone around us sees the environment. Among paints and hot drinks, we discussed how to expand our group to receive more input from other students and what sorts of events we'd like to host in the next year. From the very first meeting, it's been clear how passionate we all are about making a change in our community. We've created a website for our group, engaged with the community, and familiarized ourselves with the Flagstaff Climate Accords. Truly, we've made considerable progress, and we're excited to see where this journey takes us. Unfortunately, Maddie couldn't be here today, so I'll be covering her section, but before that, here's a little about her. Maddie attends Flagstaff Arts and Leadership Academy and is interested in music, swimming, hiking, and watercolor. She finds enjoyment in butterfly gardens and planting trees, and strives to help the youth of Flagstaff create a sustainable environment. She is a great member of the group and is always willing to share her ideas and spread her positivity. We appreciate her and everything she's done for the group. So moving into this next section, some of our current projects include researching the FUSD Climate Action Report, so we're aware of FUSD's climate goals and priorities and know where we can help to strengthen these goals. We're also planning the Cookies and Climate event to receive more feedback from other youth outside of the club. We like to host these sessions in a relaxed environment, doing a fun, recreational activity to get everyone more comfortable with speaking up about their ideas and opinions concerning what we should focus on in the future, especially since climate change is a sensitive topic. As I mentioned previously, we are reaching out to other local climate groups, both school-based groups and groups not affiliated with any of the local schools, as we'd appreciate their input and aid in planning climate-based educational events in the classroom and around town. Currently, we are recruiting more members to help us achieve our goals, and also because we truly do want representation from each school in Flagstaff. One of our top beliefs is that everyone's voice gets to be heard, and since climate change affects everyone differently, we want to respect that and hear from different groups of people. Finally, we are building up an online presence with our website and social media accounts. We have an Instagram and Facebook account, which we utilize to spread information about us, the events we're planning, and to reach out to those in our community. Thank you for your time. I'll give the presentation to Scarlett.
Thank you, Samantha.
Hi, Mayor and Council. My name is Scarlett Morales. I joined the Youth Climate Advisory Group to help improve the community. I love mountain biking and theater, and I'm very passionate about the environment. The Youth Climate Advisory Group's future projects are the Youth Climate Summit, Climate Action Day, and Climate Action and Education in Schools.
Hi, I'm Lillian. I'm a senior at Flagstaff High School. I was so excited to have an opportunity to join the Flagstaff Youth Group this year. I was thrown into an environment class and I loved it. And I loved hearing everyone's passion about the environment, so I was like, hey, let me apply. And I got it, and now I'm with a wonderful group of people trying to make the community better and educate young students and families. Where's it at? Oh, yeah. Okay. This is our 4 former members, is Jesse, Elizabeth, Indy, and McKenna. They are moving on to great things. Okay. I am closing right now, so our big ask from the City Council is for you to be our biggest supporters for the youth community, so we are able to strengthen our foundation for youth voices and climate action. And we'd like to thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. Well done. Can I just say the first time I ever came to that podium to talk to council, I was shaking and so nervous, and you picked a really awesome group to be advocates for climate action, and it's really great to see this come to fruition. So really appreciate you all being here. Council, do we have Councilmember Aslan?
Thank you, Mayor. So are all of you seniors?
Not all of us are seniors. Yeah, I'm a freshman.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure there's a pipeline there with lots going on.
There is.
And I don't know if any of you know my daughter, she attends FHS2, Ariel. I have no idea why she's not involved with this group. I think she's just overcommitted. But I'll have a conversation with her tonight and see if she can
We'd love to have her.
come join your team, because you guys are so cool and so friggin' inspiring. I'm just really excited that this is up and running and that you folks are the face of it. And I love seeing this at the ground level. I can't wait to see what it looks like after a couple of years. Thank you for all you're doing and all you're going to do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember McCarthy.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I'm going to tell you a quick story about when I was in high school. That was a long time ago. Before your parents were born, probably. Anyway, I was in the physics class, and I remember the physics teacher one day, he just quit teaching physics for a few minutes, and he said, you know what, the people in this class, you boys and you girls, you are the future leaders of America. And I think back on that sometimes. Maybe that's how I got on city council. The reason I tell you that story right now is you are the future leaders of America. And I see heads nodding in the background from staff. So anyway, I just want to thank you from my heart for doing this good work. And it's not only good work, it's important work. And there's some people that don't believe that climate change is a real issue, but they're fading away, don't worry. And we're gonna have to address this problem, and you guys are gonna help us do it. So thank you, thank you.
You, Councilmember. We'll have Councilmember Shimoni and then Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you to Nicole, Jenna, and Gracie. Thank you to Jessica, Samantha, Maddie, Scarlett, and Lillian, along with the former members, Jesse, Elizabeth, Indy, and McKenna. This is so exciting. I have like 2 weeks left on my council term, and I think Councilmember Aslan and McCarthy will recall that we've been talking about a youth commission or committee for quite a few years now. And I'm just so happy that this is happening before I leave my seat. So glad that you all are here. Thank you for your service. Thank you for all that you've been doing. Thank you all for all that you will be doing. I just texted our former council member, Charlie Odegaard, who told me when he left the city that to make sure to see this across the finish line. And I just texted him that it's real and it's happening. So that's amazing. Scarlett, thanks for stepping up as a freshman. That is incredible. And also for all of you speaking tonight. I know how intimidating it is to speak at council meetings. And so kudos to all of you. Couple quick ideas. So I love that there's an Instagram and a Facebook page, but how about a TikTok? You could have the first City of Flagstaff TikTok channel. And I think that'd be really cool to see some videos being created, by you all and your peers. And just an idea that I've been doing with folks is just recording people giving a message to the City of Flagstaff and just saying, hey, whatever you want to share with the City of Flagstaff, and having them say their story or whatever their message is. But you can help be that bridge, and you can help be that connector of their voices through the work and advocacy that you're doing, however you choose to do that. Just a thought. But, the decisions that we make in this building at City Hall have the greatest impact on you and your peers and the next generation of all those living today. So it is so important that you all are involved at the local level where politics really does impact you directly, and that you speak up and that you engage and you hold us accountable to your generation's needs and what your needs are. So I hope that you all continue to be involved and speak up and engage. And I'm so proud of the work that you've already been doing. So cheers to Team Flagstaff. Cheers to all of you, and looking forward to the great work ahead. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Shoney. We'll go to Vice Mayor and then Councilmember House.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to Nicole, Jenna, and Gracie for bringing this wonderful group to us today. And to all of you standing in front of me, you remind me of myself. I was a little bit older than you, working at Greenpeace right here in Flagstaff for many years. So my heart and dedication to our climate and our planet live long and strong. Thank you for increasing our youth engagement in local climate action. We're depending on you, and thank you for stepping up and bringing that to Flagstaff. You give me, and I think a lot of us, hope for the future, so thank you for that. And you're doing great work. I encourage you to keep going. We need you now and into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember House.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. This was such an inspiring presentation, and truly, when we say that you are the future, you are the future. It was absolutely amazing to hear from each of you and to see your passion for the work that you're doing and for making positive change in your community. I think one of you, I believe it was Samantha, in your profile stated that you're a writer and you want to use that to speak into the future. You have at least 2 council members who are also writers and who feel that deeply. So thank you for all that you're doing. I did have a question about you've mentioned the Youth Climate Summit. Is there an anticipated date for that, or is that still just in the planning phases?
The set date is April 4th. We've had many summits before, but now we actually get to play a part in it and have a youth judge. One of us or multiple of us will be a judge, and we're just really excited to work with kids because that's where this all starts, is really making sure that they know that they can make a difference.
Great, thank you so much.
All right, well, thank you all for being here. Looking forward to all the results from your work, all the advice you can give, and new ideas that we need to change our approach to climate change and sustainability issues, because we need it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we are down to agenda item number 10, vehicle nuisance noise ordinance discussion. Okay, there you go.
Just want to get rid of this. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, my name is Paul Laswicki. I'm the Deputy Chief of Support Services of Flagstaff Police Department. With me is the Chief of Police, Dan Musselman. In this presentation today, first we'll revisit the background of the problem that led to this discussion. From there, I'll briefly discuss the elements of the proposed vehicle nuisance noise ordinance and open the floor for questions and comments. A few years ago, in October of 2019, a Flagstaff resident emailed the mayor and council to express his concerns about excessive vehicle noise. Shortly after that, the council was presented with a petition titled Intentional Noise Pollution. This petition requested the city council consider the effects of noise on quality of life in Flagstaff. The citizen who presented the petition had asked the council to address excessive noise created when drivers intentionally modify their vehicles to make them louder. These concerns were presented to the council during a June 1st, 2021 council meeting. After that presentation, the council voted to have the police department draft an ordinance to address nuisance noise. An initial draft of an ordinance was presented to council on September 21st of last year. At the conclusion of that, a discussion council requested a work session to further discuss the details of this ordinance. Staff from the police department and the city attorney's office looked at several nuisance noise ordinances from municipalities in Arizona and of course across the country as well. Most of the municipalities that we looked at had ordinances that restrict nuisance noise in certain zoning districts to a specific decibel level during daytime and nighttime hours. And in addition, many of the ordinances we researched also had similar restrictions that applied to vehicle noise. We used criteria that were common across those ordinances to develop our own standards for our own proposed ordinance. On January 25th of this year, police department staff presented to the city council a revised noise ordinance with different options for enforceable sound levels and qualities for them to consider. At that time, council directed the city to hire a consultant to conduct a sound study and provide recommendations for noise enforcement. In June, MD Acoustics provided police department staff with a report detailing their findings and recommendations. Between June and October, Flagstaff Police Department facilitated several public outreach efforts to solicit input and from affected citizens. Eventually, the city council decided to split the nuisance noise ordinance into two separate codes, a vehicle nuisance noise ordinance and an ordinance that addressed neighborhood noise. Adoption of language specific to the neighborhood nuisance noise ordinance was deferred to an exploration by a work group, and the council decided to move forward with the vehicle nuisance noise ordinance. At this time, we have provided a copy of the vehicle nuisance noise ordinance to the staff summary. In summary, this slide represents the decibel limits at various speeds and according to different vehicle size classifications. And this slide represents the fine schedule that was requested by council. At this point, we would like to open it up to any comments or questions.
Thank you. Councilman McCarthy.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Over the weekend, I had a chance to read this, and I think it's a good ordinance. I did have some suggested changes, and I've passed out a copy to everyone, and I apologize for this small font. I won't get into why that happened. But I don't know if we want to go over these one by one, or if maybe, Paul, if you and I could get together, and most of them are kind of on the order of being nitpicky, you know. I'm a mechanical engineer, so it's kind of my nature to get into the weeds, so to speak. But there's nothing among my changes are really earth-shattering. They're mostly just minor refinements of definitions and things like that. So I don't know, do we want to get into them one by one, or?
Have you sent that to city staff? Maybe it could just be posted as
Yes, I sent it to staff. I believe it was
We can put it
on.
up there, but these are, from what I'm reading, is not like changes to the decibel levels or anything. It's to basically align the ordinance alongside our, Mark Standard Handbook for Mechanical Engineering and so forth, so that way it's more, scientifically associated. So if we wanted to post that, though, then we don't have to do line by line, but then we can see if the council has any recommendations for or against any of the specific segments outlined by Councilmember McCarthy. Sound good?
Yes, and basically to confirm what you said, yes, most of these are, minor things, definitions that, I did my master's thesis on noise issues too, so I have a lot of background on noise issues. And, but the substance of it is basically, I think, where it needs to be. I did some thinking about the suggested levels. They kind of passed the gut reaction test of what I think is reasonable. I know, Paul, you and I, you're very aware that I have a professional quality sound meter now. Yeah. And so my gut reaction is the levels are good. I noticed that I compared them to a couple other cities I checked, and they're basically the same. I don't know how many cities you checked to kind of see what other cities are allowing, but this is in the ballpark for sure.
Could we post that on the screen? I just want to make sure the public can see it, but these are, just so you know, these are simple changes rather than, for example, instead of posted speed limit, it is changed to legal speed limit, since in certain areas, like residential areas, the speed limit is not posted, but by statute is 25 miles an hour. Those are some of the suggestions that Councilman McCarthy provided, which I do support. If that's something we can just throw up there for public consumption, that would be good.
Mayor and council, it may be wise to maybe take a 5-minute break, and we'll see if we can find that email and get it put into a Word document. Do you have it? Okay.
Okay, well, while that's getting posted, we can discuss on council if we have any questions or concerns regarding this, so that way we can continue to move forward.
At the top of page 2, on the back side, there is one change here that seems to be a little bit more significant than just wording. Councilmember McCarthy, I encourage you to share your reasoning, but I did just want to check with our law enforcement to make sure that this wasn't more of a change than we were bargaining for. The way it's worded is the category of motor vehicle measured from outside of the traffic lane, and the suggested change is measured from inside the traffic lane or at a larger distance. This is an actual substantive change. Maybe not much of one, but I just want to double check with our team that this isn't a significant alteration.
Well, let me just
practicality.
Let me just tell you what my reasoning was. The way I read it, the existing wording is the officer would have to be like right outside the lane. What if there's 2 lanes and he's at the sidewalk? That's not right outside the lane. So I was trying to say that they could be in the lane, which generally they probably would not enforce it in that manner, but they could be in the lane or at any farther distance. Maybe they're 75 feet away. And if even at that distance, the noise level was higher than what we have in the allowable table, they could still be cited. Of course, noise drops off with distance, so if it's 88 dB there, it was probably going to be 95 dB, outside the lane. So that was kind of my reasoning.
I'm sure it's worded that way. I'm picturing a police officer standing in a lane of traffic. And so I just want some clarification on that and to make sure that the wording itself doesn't create any safety issues or fuzzy problems later on, unintended consequences.
Well, I certainly don't expect the police officer to stand in the lane by any means. I was envisioning maybe they were behind them, driving behind them with the meter outside the window or something. But let me make a general comment. All of these changes that I brought up, I'm willing to talk about them and make sure they make sense. I'm not rigid on this. I'm trying to just create a discussion. So, Mr. Musselman, maybe you have some comments on Mr. Aslan's comments.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. And I took it to mean the same way Councilmember Aslan did, that we're not going to be driving behind a vehicle with the sound meter outside. We get in enough crashes without adding extra stuff to it. So that's why we wanted to just make sure we took the measurement from outside the lane. But Councilmember McCarthy's correct too. We could be 2 or 3 cars behind and the motorcycle stopped at a stoplight, pull out the sound meter, get a reading, and then that gives you enough to stop the car. So it doesn't restrict us. It actually allows us to take the reading from more places, which we're okay with.
That was my intent, to make it more flexible. And actually, if the officer measures farther away, that gives an advantage to the person that's making the noise, because if it's really that loud, that much farther away, it would be even worse closer in.
Sterling.
So yes, and I appreciate that. Unfortunately, Senior Assistant City Attorney and Police Advisor Mary Ann Sullivan wasn't able to be here with us this evening, but we've discussed this, and I know she discussed it with the chief as well. That comment about the flexibility is actually greater with the language as it was written rather than with the change. That flexibility would be better, or we would have a more flexible situation if the change is not incorporated. That's aside from the safety factor of trying to drive and measure sound at the same time, which we would recommend against.
Thank you. I do have Councilmember Shimoni with a question here as well. So, Councilmember Shimoni?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Chief and Deputy Chief. Quick question. My question is, are we going to be responding to calls? Like if someone says, hey, 911, there's a fast, loud car down my street, are we going to be sending officers to respond to that, even if like it's just to touch base with that neighbor and say that, hey, we're here and we're checking? Or are we going to proactively, go out to certain key spots at certain times and engage that way? Or is it both?
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. Councilmember Shimoni, it's actually going to be both. So if we get a continuing complaint of a certain area, say close to a high school that they're racing away, we may go out and proactively patrol that based on complaints. But if a citizen calls in and wants to give their name and their information and wants to take contact, we will for sure go out and contact that citizen and try and investigate it from that point, knowing full well that that vehicle is probably going to be gone by the time we get there. But I think there's still some other ways we can try and follow up on that and determine who that is and try and make sure that vehicle complies with the ordinance.
And Chief, thank you for that. Do you have concerns about staff time or, officer time and going down that rabbit hole of chasing this car from neighbors complaining?
Yes, thank you. That's a fair question. Yes and no. So all of our calls are prioritized, so we're not going to hold an injury accident to go to this call. It gets put in the queue, and then where it lands, it lands. And our officers and supervisors monitor the radio pretty regularly, and they can make that discretionary decision that, yes, I need to break and go to this other call. That's a higher priority. And we'll still try and get back to the reporting party on that call, but it may be delayed.
Okay, and Mayor and Council, last question from me, Chief. Are we removing anything from the list of obligations of, things that our officers respond to as we add this topic, potentially add this topic on the list?
Yeah, Mayor, Council members, no, we're not removing any other calls for service that we normally go to. This would just be added to it.
Thank you.
Councilmember Aslan?
I do. It's kind of popcorn style. We're bouncing around here a little bit. We got an email recently from Duffy mentioning the Lincoln Institute of Land Policy publishing an article about unmanned technological methods to deal with this noise problem, devices meant to function like speed cameras. Wondering if you could comment on that, or if you have any thoughts, or if you looked into that at all?
Yeah, I did look into that, and currently that technology only exists in France. They're the only place that's using that. The email addressed the cameras that are on a lot of the traffic signals throughout the city and a lot of our intersections. Those cameras that are already in place only record information for about 4 seconds before writing over that information. And it's only as a kind of a technology to help control the timely cycling of traffic signals and smart intersections. And that's those cameras' only purpose. They don't come with microphones or anything like that. What the email referred to, or that article referred to, is actually kind of a cluster of microphones, and they're called sound radar. So these are only experimental, and France doesn't even use them yet. They're still exploring that technology to enforce or to kind of paint a picture of what their sound hotspots look like.
Okay, so it sounds like the cart before the horse a little bit. Maybe something we could take advantage of down the road in the future. It seems like a good idea to follow up on, but thank you for already doing that, for following up on that. And we'll put that one in the, we'll put a pin in that one for a little while and come back to it at some later point. I'm glad to be able to bring up the question, but we can get back to the more specific things where we're grounded on in reality for now.
Not sure if I'm good with putting microphones throughout the city to be tracking people's comments and sounds by the government, but
it's a tall
you know, just throwing that out there. But thank you for researching that, and we can get back to the issue at hand. Councilmember McCarthy.
Yes, Chief, before the meeting, you caught me, and we had an extremely brief conversation about how to handle some of these definitions, specifically sound level and decibels. I suggest that maybe you and I or Paul get together after the meeting or today or some other day and kind of work on that together and wordsmith it. I don't think we have any these aren't issues that affect the policy. They're more just about definitions.
And I would just like to say, aside from the inside and outside of the traffic lane suggestion that Councilman McCarthy had, I do think it's befitting to have definitions that align with, you know, mechanical engineering manuals and so forth. And I would like to invite any council member who may have, you know, some issues with any of the other subsections suggested by Councilman McCarthy to please speak up now. Otherwise, that we can move forward with the majority of the suggestions that Councilmember McCarthy has stated. Councilmember Shimoni.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a general comment, not necessarily in regards to Councilmember McCarthy's recommendations. Do you want me to go ahead with it now or hold off?
No, I think now is a good time. I'm not seeing any comments regarding the specific word changes suggested, so we can move on.
Well, I'll share my thoughts, and Chief and Deputy Chief, I don't think you'll be too surprised on where I'm at on this. And so, you know, Mayor and Council, I really struggle with this one. I really do. You know, it's one thing to regulate a building and the noise produced by a building. It's another thing to try to regulate and enforce a moving vehicle sound. And so I have a few comments, Mayor and Council, please bear with me. I won't be long. But my opening comment I like to make is just my struggles with the opening of the agenda item and the quote from the email that says, quote, "I can't count the number of times I have been assaulted by blasts of noise from cars spewing their deep and threatening engine." I'm guessing that next word is vibration. "Their abuse can be heard, even felt from blocks away." I don't know why that really bothers me. I think maybe it's partially because my family comes from a low-income neighborhood of Jerusalem, and we've kind of, you know, built our lives up with nothing. And to me, that kind of quote, in my opinion, has a lot of privilege in that complaints, and I really struggle with that. It really bothers me, you know, personally, right? And Mayor, I see your head nodding, and I appreciate that. You know, officer time, when I did ride-alongs, Chief, with our officers, you know, I really saw they really do care, right? They're great people that really do believe and care about the community, but we were responding to calls that were low level across town, dog off a leash in Buffalo Park. We're at the opposite side of town, and it's 20 minutes ago because we had other priorities, but then we still had to respond to it because it's in the queue, right, Chief? And it's just like, by the time we got there, it was 40 minutes after the fact, and we tried to find the person who called, and 20, 30 minutes went by before that officer was able to take the next call in the queue. And so I really struggle with us responding to these complaints and encouraging our community to complain like this, and that we're going to actually engage with that. You know, when I speak to chiefs across the state, and even at times at the national level in different states, they tell me they don't respond to calls like these. Maybe not the noise one, but like the dog off leash and this lower level, you know, levels of service calls. They just don't have the time to respond to them. But yet, you know, we take pride in that, and I respect that, Chief. I do. I see the value in it, but I just hate to see us keep adding to the list of things we respond to, given how short-staffed we are and the burnout that we have is real. I just, in talking to officers, I think that I don't feel comfortable adding more to their plate, especially things like this. And then let's see. I don't personally think having officers chasing down vehicles that are too loud is appropriate. I just don't. And then, okay, I'm almost done my comments. I have significant concerns about who this is going to more significantly impact. And I have a fear that this is going to negatively impact lower income populations in our community. And I really have concerns that that's who's going to really get hit by this. And I also have concerns about the certification and the continued recertification costs, right? We have turnover. This is not cheap. It's going to add up. And I really struggle with that. And then I was glad to see the email from the resident, Duffy, saying that she too had issues with the financial drain. And although I know she wants to see this addressed, I was glad that her and I were on the same page about the cost being a concern. And we're neighbors. We live next to each other. I hear the same car that they're talking about. It bothers me too, but you know what? I live with it. I hold my breath. I count to 10. The car's gone. Life goes on. You know, no big deal, right? I'm grateful to have a home in Flagstaff. I'm privileged to have a home in Flag that I'm renting, right? So it's one thing to regulate and enforce noise at a location like a structure. It's another thing to be chasing down vehicles that we call are too loud. I'm not supportive of this. If you can't tell where my comments are going, I appreciate the work that's gone into this. And maybe I'd be more supportive if our staffing was at closer to 100%. But I just don't see the need to be moving forward with this as a standalone. With all due respect, I think that, again, the structure is another conversation that I think I'm more supportive of. But this one for me is you know, I'm just not in favor. So thank you for hearing me out. And thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Shimoni. And yeah, just to, you know, I agree on multiple levels with you on this ordinance. To me, this just provides a tool in terms of, you know, if we're already having a vehicle looking for speeders through the neighborhood and have a sound mic on it at the same time, we know at what time of day some people are coming down with their loud, obnoxious, adjusted vehicles that intentionally put on the glass pack or whatnot to make noise, then you know what, I don't think that's adding on. I don't think we're going to be, you know, responding to somebody zooming down the street and 20 minutes later coming down to try to address the situation, but it allows some level of notification to individuals who may be there while the police are already there. And I also have concerns with the, you know, potentially impacting those that may not be able to afford to replace their muffler and so forth. But with this ordinance, we're providing some discretion, so that way we're not targeting individuals that can't afford to repair their vehicle, but rather those that intentionally upgrade their vehicle to make noise obnoxiously. So I agree with a lot of your points, and I absolutely see where you're coming from, but I don't think how it's written and how we're approaching it is going to be targeting those who just can't afford to upgrade their vehicle. It's those who are upgrading it to be obnoxious. And I also don't see us trying to respond to calls that, hey, somebody just drove down my street, can you go track them down because they were noisy, but rather the police are already there. They have the device in hand just along with their speedometer to be able to, you know, potentially address the situation, and especially when some of these cases are repetitive at a certain time of day, it may allow us a tool to notify that individual, be there when the case occurs, and hopefully, you know, calm down the situation.
Mayor?
Yes.
Quick follow-up?
Councilmember Schwenning.
Thank you. So I hear you, and I appreciate that. I agree with a lot of what you said. My understanding, Mayor, is it's not just that the officer, if there's an officer there and there's a car going by, they can pull out their sound radar and check for the sound levels, right? If they're equipped and, you know, trained, et cetera. But that's one component that you talked about. The other component, and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, but pretty sure I understood you correctly in that if someone from my neighborhood or any neighborhood picks up the phone and says, hey, there's a fast car or a car making too much noise, that gets added to the queue, Mayor. And if there's not an officer at the site at that location, an officer will address that queue item. And they will show up 10, 20, 30 minutes later. They will make contact with the resident that called in and say, hey, we are here. We're doing a report, or we're just checking in to touch base, let you know that we're here. We've made contact. We've tried to address the issue. And so that might take 40 minutes of an officer's time at the end of the day, or 20 minutes. I don't know. Just depends on the situation. But if there was a way, Chief, to separate the two and make it what the mayor was saying, I'd be more in favor of that. If an officer is there and they have another tool in their tool chest, right, Mayor? Like, to your point, that's great. But if we're responding to a call 20, 30 minutes later, I just feel like it's not a good use of our limited resources.
Thank you, Councilmember Shimoni, and I agree with that. If, Chief, if you'd like to speak to that fact.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of council. So we do try and respond to every call that comes in, and we find that when we don't, your emails start blowing up, and we have to respond to it after
Really?
the
I've
fact.
never known that.
Anyway, so it's just better to try and do it on the front end. We may not be there in time to address the issue, but the residents will still feel heard, and over time, officers get to know who's in their beat, who the problems, where the problems are. And usually the speeding problems, in some cases, I think they're going to overlap with the loud vehicles. I mean, the places where we have speeding complaints, we're usually going to be there anyway. And it is, most of the vehicles we're talking about here, I do believe are going to be those that go out and buy the aftermarket mufflers to intentionally make their vehicles louder. The normal, everyday, off the dealer lots vehicles, they're probably not going to be loud enough to be in violation of this ordinance. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember McCarthy.
Well, just a quick point, and I think everybody at the dais knows this, but for those listening online, when we talk about this wordsmithing, this is all coming back to council again. So it isn't like, you know, there's time to negotiate those little nitpicky changes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. This is just a work session item, so we're not voting tonight, just giving direction on how we would shape it if we were wanting to move forward with the vote on it. At this point, unless standard corrected, I feel like we've gotten a certain level of direction in terms of the wordsmithing we would like to see. And we've had work sessions before on this to kind of purview, for example, the level of fines or whatever else may be associated with it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but does staff need any further direction on this item aside from what we've stated with Councilmember McCarthy's changes to with removing the inside outside of lane language?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of council. I think we're good. We will sit down with Councilmember McCarthy and incorporate or come to compromise on those things we can. But yes, we have proper direction. And then we will be bringing back a draft to you December 6th. Will be the first read of a draft ordinance. Excellent.
And I do appreciate Councilmember McCarthy's attention to detail on this fact, as always. So with that, thank you very much, for your work on this. All right, that ends our agenda item number 10. Agenda item number 11 is public participation. Do we have anyone from the general public?
No, Mayor, we do not.
I do understand Councilman McCarthy has a statement he'd like to say as a public participant as opposed to at the dais. Just please make sure we put that on the record of the cards and so forth associated.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. I'd like to point out that Craig Bouchard and Jennifer Groban sent emails to council accusing me of inappropriate actions. I wish to address their accusations, some of which are factually incorrect, and some are just their opinion. The issue involves the idea that bars should be able to emit loud noise versus the idea that people should be able to sleep in their homes. Ms. Grogan told council that I have asked the police to cite businesses for noise violations. That is absolutely untrue. I have not done that. Mr. Bochart told council that one neighbor has an alliance with a member of council. He is apparently talking about me. The alliance statement is disingenuous. As a council member, I discuss issues with all affected parties. In fact, I have discussed noise issues with Mr. Bochart on several occasions. He says that we stalked, that's his quote, his business. That's also disingenuous. Yes, I have taken noise readings near his establishment. The purpose was to take objective readings with a professional quality meter and then to note if the noise levels seemed reasonable or not. I have taken data, but have not yet determined what my recommendations are regarding an appropriate allowable noise level for bars. Regarding the Harvard noise article, I did suggest that it be sent to council. The article was publicly available general background information. It certainly did not discuss any Flagstaff policy. Mr. Bochart's email also states that the time of 1843, quote, he meaning Jim McCarthy, he emails to all thanking her for the information. I couldn't find any such email. I did find one at that exact time, but that was an email that only went to Marianne Sullivan and Dan Musselman at the police department, sending a copy of the background information. If I provided a copy of the proposed ordinance, which he accuses me of, I would have done that for anyone that asked, including for him, Mr. Bochart. That is called transparency. In closing, my primary goal is to come up with allowable limits that are fair to local businesses and to the residents who live in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember McCarthy. All right, with that and no further public participation, we are down to agenda item number 12, our informational items, 2 from mayor, council, and city manager, and future agenda item requests. And I will start with Councilmember House.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nothing from me this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember Shimoni.
All right, I'll go. I guess I'll cut my list short just because I wasn't fully prepared, but I just wanted to give appreciation to the Native American Heritage Month events that were hosted by our Indigenous Commission, Commissioners Weathersby, and then the panel discussion that was had earlier today. Rose, thank you for your leadership and for everyone's involvement in that. I was bummed to have missed it, but and there isn't a recording, so I'll just have to wait for the next events, but hopefully some of you got to go. If not, I'm sure it was a great event and it was very beneficial to those who were involved. But yeah, thank you to those who were engaged in that process. As you can tell, I'm not in town. I'm back in Highland Park, Illinois, where I grew up, and I was able to attend a council meeting yesterday here in Highland Park, so it was great just to kind of be in a different chamber, speak to a new council, engage with new staff, a whole new dynamic, a whole new opportunity of anyways, it's been good. It was really great. And I got to speak about some of the successes that we've been able to achieve in Flagstaff and excite them about the good things that we've been working on. So that was really, really fun to be a part of that and engage that way with my hometown. And then, in closing, good meeting today, y'all. Appreciate our work. And just want to say that it's been a challenging week, I think, for our whole community. And my heart, thought, and prayers go out to all those struggling today in Flagstaff. It's been really challenging, and yeah, can't stop thinking about the situation that we're all in, especially those who are more directly impacted. I'll leave it at that, but have a great night, and thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Shimoni. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. A couple of reminders. I can't believe it, but this Friday is First Friday Art Walk. It's a great way to support local artists and businesses. I hope to see you. And Saturday is the Winter Wonderland tree lighting downtown, and I will be attending that as well. Thank you.
Well, you stole my thunder because I was going to talk about the tree lighting. But aside from that, if anybody has any leftover turkey recipes, I'm running out of ideas right now. So let me know. But otherwise, I will pass it along, Councilman McCarthy.
Well, I will be at the tree lighting too. And as far as leftover turkey, I usually make turkey and rice and vegetable soup. It's good. And that's all for tonight.
Councilman Wrestling.
Purina guys were here earlier. You missed an opportunity. Well, there's only so much you can do with turkey, and then you feed it to the household pet, right? So I have something I could talk about, or I could save it for a liaison report. I haven't been able to discuss with everybody my trip to Santa Monica for the American Film Festival yet. I don't know if you guys want to hear about that now, or if I should wait on that one.
Please go ahead. I mean,
Okay.
it's a little lighter
Yeah,
schedule than
it's
we're
a
going to
lighter
have in the
schedule,
next
so I
few.
can go into that a little bit. I'm just really grateful for Heidi Hansen and Trace Ward and Meg for the suggestion that we attend that this year. I know I came to Heidi and Trace, the Discover Flagstaff team, a while back, and I was talking about beefing up our film efforts and presence here in Flagstaff. I just think the intangibles and the monetary tangibles to having a more vibrant scene here in Flagstaff, where production companies are coming through and filming, and we've got crews and being hired, and there's just a lot. There's a lot to that. There's a lot of uplift that goes on with that. I was surprised when I learned from them that we have a film office and that Meg's got a full-time job dealing with those activities throughout the year. I was surprised to learn that those efforts are ongoing and that Meg is very busy with that. I was also surprised to learn that that's only one of the things. It is a full-time job, but that's not the only thing that's on her plate. And so just through this whole process, it was really nice to have her come to council and give that report about what's going on, and just acknowledging that there's not a lot of proactive effort out there in terms of recruitment and promoting Flagstaff as a film destination. I would like to see that change in next year's budget, wherever we can find some pennies in the couch cushions to start to deal with that. And I came back from the week we spent in Santa Monica really convinced that this is just an incredible investment. And I'm sorry I'm not more prepared with some prepared thoughts here, but I will struggle through this if you'll allow me to. The investment is just going to be amazing. We were on the floor at the American Film Market for, I think, 6 days total. I spent most of one of those days in a council meeting in my hotel room, but that's fine. We had the rest of our team down on the floor. And whenever I was out there joining them, our Arizona table was being visited by filmmakers, by producers, by financiers, by folks in the film industry. It was a constant stream. I figured we'd get some conversations each day, but it was a constant stream all week long. People were so excited to see that Arizona was represented at this event. The conversations were flowing. We now have some new tax incentives that we can crow about and talk about, and by far and away, that is what everybody was interested in learning more about. It was the first question everybody asked. They ran up to the table, they saw our picture of Antelope Canyon. Some of them wanted to say, where is that? What is that? I see that all the time, I want to know more about it. But the first question that every filmmaker asked her, what are Arizona's incentives right now? And luckily, we're in this time frame where we have those incentives coming online. And I don't want to get too into detail because I'll start screwing up some of the details without my notes in front of me on what those incentives look like and what a big deal they are. But this is going to change everything for the state of Arizona. And Phoenix is at the table, Tucson Film is at the table, and I think it's really important for Flagstaff to be represented in these conversations each and every time we have the opportunity to promote our location as a film destination. Because otherwise, these opportunities are going to go to Phoenix and they're going to go to Tucson. So we need to be there for these opportunities. I just, kind of stumbling through this, but I just want to emphasize how much the industry is excited that Arizona is back on the map, literally and figuratively, as a film destination. And the number of people, even in Arizona, who are filmmakers who have to go outside of Arizona to make their films because we haven't had these incentives in the past. You know, the financiers really want the most money for their the biggest bang for their buck in terms of their investments, and you can't get producers to green light producing a film in a state that is not providing that is not lifting up the budget for the production company. So a very big hurdle has been passed, and I think it would be very strategic and quite an investment for us to leverage as much as possible the enthusiasm that's out there for filming in Arizona, and we need to educate filmmakers and producers that they can come here to Flagstaff. It's a four-season town. We've got all 50 states in Arizona. We can reproduce the New England here on our streets in Flagstaff, and we've got we've got the coolest backyard in the world, and all those environments come with hotel nights here in Flagstaff for crews and the entire production outfit. So keep that in mind as we enter budget season. It was a very, very successful way for us to promote Flagstaff, a very reasonable and humble monetary investment by the Discover Flagstaff team to have folks out there talking Flagstaff, and it worked, and it will continue to pay dividends. So I'll leave that there for now. I'm sure we can add to that conversation a little bit more, and I would love to get a more detailed and eloquent update from Meg on some of these things, perhaps during the budget conversation. So I don't know if you're listening, Heidi, but that would be great if we could fit that into our budget retreat somehow. There are other opportunities coming up for Flagstaff to promote itself as a film destination, and we should get in the habit of taking advantage of all of those as much as we can. It's just a smart investment. And then I do have a to from. So a couple weeks ago now, Councilmember House and myself went out to the sediment and detention basin over by the Y on Schultz Pass in Eldon Lookout. We were there with Supervisors Vasquez and Patrice Hortzman, and it was an amazing tour with Stacy BK and the other folks who are at the forefront of dealing with that. Really, really impressive feat. We've all had the opportunity to talk about that and to just sing our praises for the team and for how quickly they worked. It sort of became a running joke within minutes of getting there that we're going to have a snowplay issue at this location. And I want to agendize this. I think it's something we need to talk about. It was obvious to me right away, and everybody independently came to this. The first big snow we're going to have 1,000 people out there sledding. They're going to be sledding on all those surfaces. And this is something that we need to foresee, potentially manage. There might be some cost recovery aspects to this. If we can, set up an official snow play thing, it's going to be, and I'm looking at our city attorney over here. There's definitely going to be liability concerns associated with that. Whether or not we address this or we don't, whether or not we put up fences, whether or not we put up signs, there are going to be thousands of people and inner tubes and broken sleds on those hillsides the first time we have a big storm. And it's just going to keep happening. So we might as well have a constructive conversation about it and maybe, game it out a little bit and see what kind of opportunities can come from it. Frankly, I think it's going to be an amazing place to to do snow play. Maybe I shouldn't say too much more.
You're gonna get us in trouble.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a nasty look from our city attorney over here. But the responsible thing for us to do is to foresee the fact that this is going to be an issue, and to have start some conversations about it.
We can talk.
Yep.
If that has to happen in executive session, first and foremost, great, let's do it. But I'm enthusiastic about the possibilities out there, and I think we should be bullish about. My personal view is that this is an amenity and a resource that the city can leverage to great heights, and we should do what we can to make it work.
So I would just say that I'm not responding to Councilmember Aslan, but in the north of our Killip Elementary School, we are using the stormwater infrastructure project to potentially create a skate park half pipe. So this is a new idea on how to mix city services, and we'll just throw that out there. But I am not responding to anything that council members said during to and from session. Speaking of cost recovery, Councilmember Salas, who definitely is a strong advocate, but definitely don't respond to anything Councilmember Aslan said, so we don't break the rules.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, my to and from would be to recommend to reconstitute the film commission. I believe a while back the city of Flagstaff has a film commission, and council member Aslan is primed to lead that effort with hearing his verbose passion about promoting Flagstaff as a film production destination as part of our Discover Flagstaff efforts. Okay, since it's after 5 o'clock and I'm still under the weather, I want to report that I appeared before the State Transportation Board last November 18, asking for a funding prioritization for flood mitigation on 180 and 89, and I will read my full remark to the State Transportation Board at the appropriate time when it's council commission liaison updates. Just a quick. On Thursday, there will be a Metro Plan board at 1 o'clock. It's a hybrid between Zoom and Mountain Line office. At 3 o'clock, there's the Icona open house at the office at the Ice House. The Flagstaff Leadership Program is having a holiday mingle that afternoon too at Little America. And of course, First Friday Art Walk, support our local artists and our businesses downtown. And I look forward to the Winter Wonderland celebration and the tree lighting this weekend. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Councilmember Salas. With that, meeting adjourned. I don't know where the